1974. Young R&B rolled out the factory door. Fresh, clean, yeah man, not a scratch. Indianapolis initial dispatch. First 13 years just sat back. Soaked up culture, learned how to rap. Cut my teeth on a groove called brain sand. With a new man that I'm deep on my man, but me know I had to be warming up. Hit beat down, started forming up. A crew that definitely pulled it up. Shabba mass that band that'll bump your rump. But all good things gotta die sometime. Transfer, but there ain't no sunshine. Hooked up with these R&B allies. Knew we were like-minded after one line. One night, man, yo, I knew we had work. Lost one beat, junkie, I'm through with that junk. Step back, it's a red alert. I'm not kidding. Get in any motor vehicle that you can fit in. Sit in any seat in the emergency position. Allow my R&B to make it happen in no vision. I'm just another dude on just another stage in yet another city part of a bigger state in. There's a bigger show going down every day, so what you gonna do, man? Stanley would say that there's a lot of rappers still in the void. A lot of hot groups out there making noise. Every single night by there's a bigger choices. You hear now, so raise your voices. You hear now, so raise your voices. You hear now, so raise your voices. Man, I hate it when I gotta get up when it's dark. I'm too tired and I just wanna sleep in. Start thinking I might have a cough. Think my boss would believe it. This weekend I did a lot of drinking. My voice sounds deep, so it just might fly. Start thinking that I just might try. Clear my throat, look.
Hi, this is Andrew Hall. I'm not feeling too well. Think I got the flu, but I really can't tell. Voices all scratchy and it started to swell. Well, you know I might be contagious. It feels like that it's in the early stages. My girl had it, and I think I caught it.
Oh man. Oh yeah, dude bought it. Hook, line, and sinker, man, they never even thought it. It's time to get to sleep, restart it, 'cause hey, really not prepared to begin this day. Up last night at a show too late. Too many drinks and too much smoke, and I wasn't even rapping, just laying low. Hold up, I gotta get the cell phone.
Hello?
It was nice, talking real fast. All I made out is junk in the past. I'm just another dude on just another stage in yet another city part of a bigger state in. There's a bigger show going down every day, so what you gonna do, man? Stanley would say that there's a lot of rappers still in the void. A lot of hot groups out there making noise. Every single night by there's a bigger choices. You hear now, so raise your voices. You hear now, so raise your voices. You hear now, so raise your voices.
To Slow State, who's one of the most evil, wicked, deviant, deceptive, power-hungry, power gaming slaves I've met in a while.
And he's here. Welcome back. How's my audio? Audio. I assume it's good. Scotty's Monster, what's going on? Hello, Peace Dynamite. I saw you say Flo wins over at Neves. That is correct. And so does Neve. What's up, Vape King? What's up, Not My Circus? This is your circus now. Welcome to your circus. Hello, Lady Flo. Those are good grooves, Sasquatch. I've been going through some of my Spotify songs, and for whatever reason, that one and the Kickin' Boots song, those two don't trigger any sort of a copyright thing, but those are the only ones so far that I've come across, unfortunately. I am God. That's a quite a claim there. Benjamin, welcome. Prairie, good evening. Katie K. Katie K, did I see you over on Lemons woo-banging in the chat, telling them I'm not racist? I think I did. CJ, what's going on? Plasma Void, good to see you. Yeah, I can only shake your head when you saw this headline. Yeah, that's what, when I came across it, I did the same thing. What's up, Stoner Gal? And Wyatt, welcome. And 10th man, waiting for the patent. I don't know what that means. Do I say hi to everyone? Walk with the Spirit. I think this is about as high up as I'm going to go. That is true. Two of them, actually. I'm hiding two small hats under here. So if you recognize the thumbnail, then you already know and read the headline. You've already figured out what happened. Virginia Giuffre, I don't remember how to pronounce her name. The main girl who was going after Epstein and Prince Andrew and who's that? Who's the other chick in the thumbnail? Anyways, she self-deleted, allegedly. That's the story. So let's take a look at it. We're gonna go over this, and then I'm going to open the panel. So let's read it. Virginia Giuffre, who accused Britain's... Shouldn't there be two T's in Britain? Is there there's two T's, right? I think there's two T's. Prince Andrew and Epstein sex trafficking scandal has died. Virginia Giuffre, who accused Prince Andrew and other influential men of sexually exploiting her as a teenager, trafficked by financier Jeffrey Epstein, has died. She was 41. Giuffre died by suicide Friday at her farm in Western Australia, her publicist confirmed. Virginia was a fierce warrior in the fight against sexual abuse and sex trafficking. She was the light that lifted so many survivors, her family said in a statement. Despite all the adversity she faced in her life, she shone so bright, she will be missed beyond measure. Her publicist, Deanie von Muffling, described Giuffre as deeply loving, wise, and funny. She adored her children and many animals. She was always more concerned with me than with herself, said von Muffling wrote in a statement. I will miss her beyond words. It was the privilege of a lifetime to represent her. The American-born Giuffre, who lived in Australia for years, became an advocate for sex trafficking survivors after emerging as a central figure in Epstein's prolonged downfall. The wealthy, well-connected New York money manager killed himself in August 2019 while awaiting trial on U.S. federal sex trafficking charges involving dozens of teenage girls and young women, some as young as 14. The charges came 14 years after police in Palm Beach, Florida, first began investigating allegations that he sexually abused underage girls who were hired to give him massages. Giuffre came forward publicly after the initial investigation ended in an 18-month Florida jail term for Epstein, who made a secret deal to avoid federal prosecution by pleading guilty instead to relatively minor state-level charges of soliciting prostitution. He was released in 2009. I believe that, if I remember correctly, maybe I don't, but I thought that his sentence was carried out at home. I may be mistaken in that. In subsequent lawsuits, Giuffre said she was a teenage spa attendant at Mar-a-Lago, President Trump's Palm Beach Club, when she was approached in 2000 by Epstein's girlfriend and later employee, Ghislaine Maxwell. That's the name I couldn't remember. Giuffre said Maxwell hired her as a masseuse for Epstein, but the couple effectively made her a sexual servant, pressuring her into gratifying not only Epstein but his friends and associates. Giuffre said she was flown around the world for assignations with men including Prince Andrew when she was 17 and 18. The men denied it and assailed Giuffre's credibility. She acknowledged changing some key details of her account, including the age at which she first met Epstein. But many parts of her story were supported by documents, witness testimony, and photos, including one of her and Andrew with his arm around her bare midriff in Maxwell's London townhouse. That's what the cover photo was cut from. Giuffre said in one of her lawsuits that she had sex with the royal 3 times, once in London during her 2001 trip, at Epstein's New York mansion when she was 17, and in the Virgin Islands when she was 18. Get out of here, AP. Ghislaine said, I want you to do for him what you do for Epstein, Giuffre told NBC News' Dateline in September 2019. Andrew categorically rejected Giuffre's allegations and said he didn't recall having met her. His denials blew up in his face during a November 2000 2019 BBC interview. Viewers saw a prince who proffered curious rebuttals, such as disputing Gouffre's recollection of sweaty dancing by saying he was medically incapable of perspiring, and showed no empathy for the women who said Epstein abused them. That interview, if you haven't seen that interview, is phenomenal. I chopped it up into like a little compilation of some of the best bits, and YouTube deleted it off my other channel, but it's fucking amazing. His denials blew up in his... Oh yeah, seen that. Within days of the interview, Andrew stepped down from his royal duties. He said he settled with Gouffre in 2022 for an undisclosed sum, agreeing to make a substantial donation to her survivors organization. A statement filed in court said that the prince acknowledged Epstein was a sex trafficker and Gouffre an established victim of abuse. She also filed and, in at least some cases, settled lawsuits against Epstein and others connected to him. In one case, she dropped her claims against a prominent U.S. attorney, saying she might have erred in identifying him as one of the men whom Epstein supplied her. What was his name? I can't think of his name right now. Epstein's self-deletion put an end to his accusers' hopes of holding him criminally accountable. Maxwell was convicted in 2021 on federal sex trafficking and conspiracy charges and was sentenced to 20 years in prison. She said she wasn't to blame for Epstein's abuse. Prosecutors elected not to include Gouffre's allegations in the Maxwell case, but Gouffre later told the court that the British socialite had opened the door to hell. Gouffre, born Virginia Roberts, told interviewers that her childhood was shattered when she was sexually abused as a grade schooler by a man her family knew. She later ran away from home and endured more abuse, she said. She said she met her now husband in 2002 while taking massage training in Thailand at Epstein's behest. She married, moved to Australia, and had a family. Gouffre founded an advocacy shelter called SOAR in 2015. Gouffre separated from her husband and children this year. She had been charged with breaching a family violence restraining order over an incident in February and was set to appear in court in June in the city of Perth, where her estranged husband and children live. She had yet to enter a plea to the charge. A conviction would have carried a potential maximum sentence of 2 years in prison. She was hospitalized after a serious accident, her publisher said last month. She didn't answer questions at the time about the date, location, nature, or other specifics of the accident and about the accuracy of the Instagram post that appeared to come from Gouffre. The post said she had been in a car that was hit by a school bus and her prognosis was dire. That post, I looked at that post earlier and it said that she claimed to have been hit by a school bus going 110 kilometers per hour, which is about 68 miles per hour. And that the doctor had given her 4 days to live. That's what the post being referenced said. She is survived by her 3 children, whom the statement described as light of her life. Sigrid Macaulay, an attorney for Gouffre, said in a statement, "Her courage pushed me to fight harder, and her strength was awe-inspiring. The world has lost an amazing human being. Rest in peace, my sweet angel." So there you have it. I am going to drop the link for club owner tier members. If you would like to get early access to StreamYard links, become a club owner tier member either on YouTube or Ko-fi. It's the top tier in both platforms. And I know that in addition to that post, there is a Ko-fi is published. There's a post that I saw, and I'll look for it in just a second here and pull it up. There's a post I saw that she made on Twitter or something previously that had said she would never self-delete. So, what do people think? Is this Legit, not legit. Sorry. I can only track one thing at a time. I was real sad to hear when she got hit. I hope she hasn't died. Oh, yeah, she has died. Yes, she did die. And they're saying it's self-deletion, which is pretty suspicious. Now, the only thing that my only reservation on saying she was murked is the possibility that everything that we watch on TV is contrived and fake entirely. I can't help but notice that everything sort of centers around Mar-a-Lago initially, as far as an origin, and people, despite what most people think, when I think of Donald Trump, I think of an actor. He's a career actor. I don't view him as a businessman. I don't view him as a real estate guy. I don't view him as a politician. I think that he's an actor, and so it is possible that everything that we read about here is just contrived plot. Think about like a long soap opera that's not where the audience doesn't realize it's watching a play. That's what I think. I think rap is rap music. I think a lot of politics is. I think a lot of things are. But you don't know what you don't know. If not that, then almost certainly this is a dirty move. But all right, and it's posted for YouTube's club owner members as well. First man.
Thank you for doing this. If and when I get out of line over this, because I haven't wanted to go live about something for a while, and I almost did earlier, but I'm in rough shape. Like I said in chat, I take this kind of personally because it's kind of the reason why it took me until I was in my 30s to go to the police about stuff that happened to me when I was young. And then for something like this to happen, where are the Epstein files, bro? Where are they? They were on her desk weeks ago. They're on my desk. We're about to release them right now. I want them. Listen, the only thing that's going to fix this is for the guillotines to come out. That's it.
Sasquatch, foil hat.
Yeah, I'm really leaning towards the witness protection concept because
that's
looking at all the different things. I mean, if home chick was having kidney problems, it'd be fairly easy to drop off somebody's body and just pack her up in the next ambulance on the way somewhere that's not here. And then they get all the data without anybody worrying about what happens to her.
I had not thought about the witness protection at all. And that could be true for both of them because like there's just no way to me that what happened to Epstein happened to Epstein. Or what they say happened to Epstein happened to Epstein.
I say Sasquatch works for I'm trying not to swear, for the government. He's trying to distract from the fact that they, yeah.
Oh, shit. That would make sense. He's sitting there with his foil hat on, probably coaxed up the word conspiracy theorist and, other mildly derogatory things to describe it. Mike 23, long time no see. What's going on?
He works for China in America.
No, I'm pretty sure that Sasquatch is AI.
You keep saying this, and I keep showing up.
I know.
There's 1,000% that Epstein didn't do it, and then this happens, and we're just supposed to go, oh, Somebody in chat said, well, what evidence do I have that Trump is involved in this? Listen, a large majority of the people who, like Russell Brand, Tim Pool, Jimmy Dore, all the people, big, huge names, all these people that were like, oh, we got to trust Trump. He's gonna do all the good stuff. They're all turning against him now.
Against Trump?
Everybody is. They're like, whoa. Hold on. This isn't what we asked for. Some of it is like the deportations, but that's about the only thing that's good. And I told you a few weeks ago, Peterson's a shill. And then he goes on Rogan and he's like, oh, we have to have guardrails on the First Amendment. Nah, they're all paid shills.
Oh, did he
all
say
of them.
that? I missed that.
I watched the whole interview.
That's a turn. Yeah, I think that.
Yep.
I think that once you get to, there's no proof of it, right? And when people ask that, what they're really wanting for proof is an admission or an official statement, from an official source. Which, if you take a step back and think about it, like that's crazy to have that as your highest tier of proof, is that some institution or whatever that lies previously. That's what you held as the highest standard of truth.
Yes, I had this discussion literally as you started. I was over on somewhere else, and it was the Mel thing again. And I left the other place for that. And they're like, oh, medical, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah. And also the medical treatment for being gay the year after I was born was electroshock therapy. That was the treatment. So now you're asking me to accept the new medical consensus of the new way we're going to do it. Not doing it. Didn't trust them then. Not going to trust them now. Oh, well, you're just stupid and old. All right, bro.
You should really give the electroshock therapy a chance. Sometimes it has a good effect.
It makes you stutter good too.
That was wild. Was that on purpose? That was on purpose. That had to be on purpose.
Me imitating my cousin. I know someone who stutters just like that, and I pick on him by talking the way he does.
That's anecdotal.
For fun.
All right, so here's the post, one of her social media posts earlier that I was talking about. She said, when was this? Oh, my birthday in 2019. She says, I'm making it publicly known that in no way, shape, or form am I self-deletal, whatever, suicidal. I have made this known to my therapist and GP. If something happens to me in the sake of my family, do not let this go away and help me to protect them. Too many evil people want to see me quieted. So, do what you want with that.
I would expect all of you to believe me when I posted that. Right? Like if I'm posting that, I'm going out of my way to go, something's really weird here.
Right. Correct. However, there's no way to filter. We know you, but there's no way to filter out what is real from what is fake. Like, how do you say that this whole character isn't contrived?
Where's the communication that said that I was self-deleting? You have to believe what I said if I didn't say a difference.
What if I'm questioning whether or not you're a real person at all? That's what I'm asking.
Why would you question that?
Because all I did was read your post. I don't know you. If I didn't, I'm using you as a correlate to Virginia.
I understand that, but why would I go out of my way to post that if that wasn't real?
Because you're playing a role, and 10th Man is a role, and the role of 10th Man is to attract attention, right? So how better to keep attention focused on 10th Man than to put something like that and keep it alive?
Well, where are the tweets before and after that?
I don't know. I'm
just saying.
Okay, but regardless of what's
Occam's razor,
that doesn't answer the question.
You have to use Occam's razor.
So I really dig Occam's razor, but really and truly has very little use when dealing with deep state government organizations.
I understand that.
There's two ways that you can approach this. You can approach this from this is crime. This crime happened, and these are the people are surrounded by the incident. Or you can approach this as this is something I saw on TV. And both are probably accurate. But honestly, the more accurate perspective is probably this is something I saw on TV, because that's literally true. You know that that's
Stop due diligence.
You don't know
What up?
the other part. Am I too far down the rabbit hole? Welcome, due diligence. What do you think?
No, I hear you.
Oh, I'm just catching up to the conversation, man. I'm bored and I just hopped on. I'm gonna fall back and listen for a minute, see if I got
Okay.
something to say.
Good deal. We're talking about Virginia Giuffre, who is, if you don't recognize that name, she's the chick that accused Epstein and Prince Andrew and Ghislaine Maxwell of the SA stuff. She was the leading chick. She just died of self-deletion and at home. So
Oh yeah, complete BS. I don't know what else to say, but yeah, it's BS.
Quite the coincidence.
So, and this is something else that bugged me. So the same thing bugged me about about Klaus Schwab, right? The World Economic Forum guy. He was too perfect of a Bond villain. He sounded the way. No, Klaus Schwab. He's old. He's been there forever.
Do you see the new guy? No, he just got replaced by a guy that bleeds out of his eye like Hannibal off Goldeneye or whatever it was. I swear to God, pull up his picture. He's got a red eye.
All right, see, this is what I'm talking about. This shit is TV. I gotta look at that.
Yes, you got to see it, man. I thought you knew this. I would have brought it up already. I'm gonna start texting you little videos.
No,
you're not gonna believe it. It's madness. Wait till you hear him talking.
Peter Brabeck. Okay,
it's unbelievable.
This is wild.
It is wild.
They're doing too much.
I think perhaps they hired some of the Onion authors to come and write reality for them.
And I'm just supposed to sit here and go, it's all good.
What's up?
Hey, what's up, Mike?
Rain here.
What up, Sasquatch?
What up, baby? Welcome to the show. Good to see you, brother.
What else? What up, Flo?
What up? And Jenny, welcome.
Oh hey.
Oh hey.
I didn't notice you added me into the chat.
Hey ho.
Yeah. I just brought you up.
Okay.
You guys have any thoughts, or should we just take a look at this guy?
I just wanted to add something really quick.
Sure.
I've done a lot of research since this. I mean, I kind of knew about all this stuff before it even became big, headliner news kind of stuff, because I'm kind of a conspiracy theorist. But yeah, something definitely smells fishy. And I've done a lot of research regarding the Satanic Network. Yeah, it's really basically.
Yeah, I want to ask you a question about that in a second.
Okay. I just wanted to say one last point I want to mention. If you think about it, every nook and cranny of our fucking society has been taken over by the shadow government, 1%, whatever you want to call it. It's a crazy world out there. Mad world out there, like Alice in Wonderland, kind of mad.
So you were in chat earlier, and you said something about the Satanic Network and that you knew people with connections, but doesn't that mean that you actually have connections?
Yes. I grew up in a family, and has affiliations with that stuff.
Knew I wore the right hat tonight.
How did you do that?
Huh?
That's good. So, you know that I want to ask you questions about that and get more out of you.
That's fine.
Okay, Flo.
Lived experience.
There's a link to the video in the backstage from either account there, because you have an old video. That's not what he looks like now. It's almost like they put a cybernetic eye in him or something since that one. It's weird. You'll never believe it.
All right, let's take a look at this real quick, and then we're gonna come back to Jenny's backstory.
Oh, I figured you'd just review it while she was talking. I'm not trying to invade.
That is not his real eye, bro.
That's what he looks like now.
Are you kidding me?
I'm fracking serious, man. It's all over the internet. Just a couple days ago, this happened.
See,
A real life villain.
and he's replacing Klaus Schwab, who is already too perfect of a villain. This stuff is crazy to me. And so just like this stuff.
I have to do this because it's part of, all right. That is literally the only extant picture I can find of this cracker. That one picture that you brought up I've got it hundreds of times over here. I can't find a picture of him anywhere else.
And look at him in his Star Trek villain shirt. What is this, people?
I welcome you to the Fourth Reich.
Well, so just like these guys are a little bit, they're doing too much. What's the deal with the obvious self-deletions? Sometimes things are just too much, right?
No, that's what I'm thinking here. Hold on now. The witness protection concept actually carries an awful lot more weight to it than the artificial self-deletion by the deep state or whatever, because it's an easier pill to swallow. I'm just saying that's exactly what we expect to happen, right? And so to have it happen, and we expect it to happen, would throw shade in the wrong corners, if you get what I'm saying. But if it was a witness protection thing and they set it up to look like the deep state knocked her off, then hands clean and free, and you got all the information you want.
Yeah, no, that's definitely. And if she was estranged from her husband and kids, which would also be right, we could work into the script.
Well, sure. I mean, pretty much anything. All you need, given that somebody took a real hardcore shot at her with a freaking bus, and that didn't get her. So now you've got her on a tether attached to a machine, and you can ship her anywhere you want to with a basic ambulance.
Okay, but hold on. Did anybody see the pictures of her when she was in the hospital? And it doesn't even look like real injuries. It's just makeup. And then supposedly the driver that was driving the bus said that it was only a minor fender bender, and he didn't see her there at all.
The accident wasn't even reported till the next day.
Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
He does not recall her being anywhere around when it happened.
Now, hold on, I want to hear it.
They are not trying to hide it. It's this communist. World Economic Forum has states failed. Well, let's hear
that. Like, did we actually
describe it to us
in our nation and globally? And did we solve that? Like, did we actually manage to vaccinate everyone in the world? No. So
that was lovely.
Cry harder.
I just wanted you to see the picture.
Yeah, no, I get you. I am just, I don't know. Something just feels off.
Let's talk to the lady about her stuff. That sounds intriguing.
I like her stuff. Hi, Jenny. We want to talk about your stuff.
Okay. Hello.
Hi. So you said, so you were raised in a family that had ties to it, or what?
Yeah.
And did you experience any of it?
The family.
I was definitely, yes, I was sexually molested by my father.
Ritually?
Yes.
Okay.
So what was the point? What type of ritual? Like, what is the point in a satanic sex ritual? Like, what's the purpose?
I can't answer that question. All I know is I know my lived experience.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up in a family that did a lot of ritual abuse to me, mind control, very controlling. Yep.
Was all your family into it? Your mom, aunts, uncles, grandpas, or was it just your dad?
And what do you mean, like in terms of the sexual stuff?
In terms, were they all Satanists?
Yes.
But you're not.
No.
What's the goal?
What's what?
What's the goal of like Satanists? I'm sorry, Flo.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm familiar. I'm kind of familiar with this stuff, so I'm not asking the questions that I maybe should be asking. Go ahead.
Like, what's the goal of like Satanists? What is the?
Why would somebody get?
She already said she don't know due diligence.
No, I didn't. That was the sexual question, but I'm saying, what do Satanists have like an objective goal, like a direct,
It's
like what
it's
is
a
the goal of it?
religion, and pursues power. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jenny. It's a power pursuit.
Yes, correct. Absolutely, it's a power pursuit.
Okay, that's valid.
And me and the parents that I was raised by growing up in my childhood, there was definitely an unhealthy power dynamic, power struggle, and they always had to have the upper hand.
What do you mean?
In terms of like, I was never allowed to leave the house. After certain hours, they had parental controls on everything. Even after me being 18 years of age, they were just very, very, very controlling in that way.
And how is that? How was that different from just very protective or strict parents?
I can't speak for. I'm not really sure what you're asking.
Well, okay. Then Sasquatch, if you got a question, but there are a lot of people who have strict parents who aren't Satanists, right? And the parents are just trying to protect them from the world or from whatever they deem to be evil or bad. And maybe you don't know the answer to this because you were only raised in the one family that you were raised in, right? But how would you view your parents' strictness as different from those of somebody who's not a Satanist but just a very strict parent?
Possibly, but I'm not saying for certain for sure.
What are some of the like evil things that you have witnessed? Like, you've made clear you've been like SA, but like, what are some other like things, like wicked things you have seen that you can share or experience?
When I was in elementary school, my father had this weird obsession with fire trucks and any kind of like EMT, like any kind of car like that, lights and sirens. Whenever he would take me to the grocery store, or I don't even know where we were going, but anytime there was a lights and sirens in front of us, behind us, passing us, he would be like, "Oh yeah, I want to go see what's going on, Jen." And I was just a kid. I didn't know any better. I'm like, "I don't know. You're the parent. You're the adult." So he would follow the ambulance or the EMT or the fire truck, lights and sirens to, the scene of the call. And it kept being all these houses on fire. So my dad had this weird obsession, like playing detective, I guess, almost. And as a kid, I would go to a lot of houses on fire.
What was his job or industry, I suppose, if you those two?
He worked supposedly at Safeway.
Okay.
But he's a functional alcoholic for sure.
Sasquatch, I saw you doing a hand thing.
The difference between, say, your typical Southern Baptist over strict father and a Satanist over strict father are the consequences.
Okay.
The Southern Baptist will, do all kinds of things, yell and scream, but less likely to lay hands directly on. That's not the case when dealing with people who have a distinct difference of morality.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are limits that most people who abide by certain religions simply won't go past. That's not true for Satanists. That's not a thing. They have their own individual morality individually, and they don't really fuss about it a whole bunch. It's basically do as I wish as long as it harms no one else. And some don't agree with that last part, do as I wish being the primary facet.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of hard to deal with sometimes, especially if you're in a group of them or with a group of them. They will take advantage of outnumbering you by going to a vote that they know is going to go their way. But in any other circumstance, they just dominate through numbers or dominate by presence, or there'll be one especially charismatic individual who'll make all the decisions. It's like cult cells, man. It's really hard to explain.
If I may, just real quick, one thing. They made that movie about the Satanic Panic and tried to make it seem like it was fake. but there's been things that have come out recently that seem like it might not be fake. But I want to ask a question from chat. From Wild Aussie Woman, QQ. Question. Jenny, was your
Yes.
family well connected with the elite?
Yes, I suspect. Because the reason why I say that is I recently was talking to someone that I'm acquaintances friends with, and according to what they know, they said people that are in the satanic network or their network, how do I put this? Obviously I'm from Seattle, Washington area, and University of Washington, according to my acquaintance friend I've been talking to lately, is known for like a CIA like kind of thing. And growing up, I also had a mother that was also alcoholic and had Munchausen syndrome. I was her by proxy growing up. If you guys know what that is, taking a healthy child and making them sick for attention. So I missed out on a lot of school growing up. So that really, I definitely have a lot of childhood trauma, and so that's all the childhood trauma that I experienced as a child. It's negatively affected me as an adult now, and
How old were you when you got away from it?
18.
Do you have siblings?
I do. I don't talk to them. We're not
Because why?
because they don't see my side of things. They are in good graces with my parents. They think they can do no wrong, do no harm. They're like, my siblings basically worship my parents like they're gods.
Do Satanists really believe that they can like conjure up like spirits or demons, or is that just like propaganda?
All right, that's you. You're on stage, Jay. Talk to me.
How are you guys doing this evening? Hey, I'm sorry to hear you're having a hard time with your family. That's rough to not be heard by the people who should love and understand you the most.
Do Satanists believe that they can conjure up like demons and spirits, or is that just like TV propaganda stuff?
No, it's real. They really do believe in it.
Do you believe that? Have you ever witnessed anything like that? Do you believe that it's real? Like demons and spirits?
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't you believe that?
I mean,
you watch the evil in the world, you know, it's pretty obvious there's some very nefarious shit going on.
I mean, it's nefarious. That doesn't necessarily mean it's supernatural or demons.
Exactly.
Right? Hey, you're not wrong. It's what do you call it? Unprovable. There's some philosophical term for it, but no.
They believe it gives them like almost like luck by doing these things, from what I've been able to ascertain.
That's
I
not
don't have any firsthand knowledge, but I've looked into it.
That's actually not a terrible description, for the very reason that it's virtually unprovable whether or not it's real or not. The individuals involved have to pick and choose what it is that they believe has occurred, and whether they believe the spokesman. I mean, it's a cult leader is what it comes down to. It's just like a tent revival. You believe this guy or that guy is what it comes down to.
Well, I mean, it depends on how you define demons. If you know someone who is a hardcore alcoholic, or can't stop having sex, whatever it is, if you don't want to put that on any supernatural realm, okay, fine. But clearly, this particular individual is having some kind of issue with whatever the thing is, and obviously they can't stop doing it, so something is driving it, and some of us would refer to that as a demon doing that to them. They can't. They just can't help themselves.
A demon is obviously its own consciousness, right? All right. Can you tell us about the demon or whatever it was that you've experienced, Jenny?
So the demon I experienced growing up, the demon for me is all the black magic they had me under, and the spells. I had a lot of nightmares as a kid. I would always have nightmares of snakes and fires. I would always be waking up in sweats, crying, like sometimes screaming. Yeah.
Holy bejesus! Did you grow up Wiccan? What did you grow up as? Why did
Man,
what was causing that?
did you literally just start listening?
I've been here all of like
Sasquatch talk.
2 minutes.
So basically, she was raised in a satanic family.
Why is everyone else talking about her? I want to hear it from her.
Because we are talking
Oh
to
my
You keep
God.
interrupting.
and yeah, careful.
No, I wanted her to share
We're
her own story, not
all
someone
right,
else.
Jay. You're not driving this show.
I mean,
Bye.
Thank you.
All right. So anyways, go ahead, Jenny. The nightmares, about snakes and fire. Did any of why snakes and fire, was that involved in any of the abuse?
Yes, I suspect it was. Yes. I experienced a way too much fear as a kid that a kid should not have never experienced. My home that I grew up in, there was no unconditional love. There was no emotional support. It was all abuse, neglect, power tripping. Do whatever it takes to get power control over me and my siblings.
Jenny, do you agree that whenever we ask for like a specific example of like a conjuring of a demon or example you gave like circumstantial stuff like bad dreams, like like that can be circumstantial. Do you agree? Like, do you have any like direct experience? Like, what have you witnessed? Not like a dream. Like people have bad dreams. You know what I mean?
Well, I guess my lived experiences is circumstantial. I'd never experienced what you see in Hollywood movies. To be honest, in my opinion, what they show you in TV shows and movies is not reality. When it comes to everyone's stories and experiences in regards to satanic ritual abuse, whatever you want to call it, it's different levels to it.
Go on. What are the levels?
I mean, obviously the level of, what you see in TV shows and Hollywood movies, like that kind of, that's the more extreme stuff. But what I experience is, it's still, I think it's still, the Ramkoa satanic ritual abuse stuff, but it's not on the extreme side of things. It's the more of the, like on the scale, Richter scale of things. I'm like down here, and this is like the more extreme stuff.
What so did you guys go to a regular conventional church or have any sort of other regular religion besides Satanism, like for public purposes?
Yes, non-denominational Christian church.
And were a lot of people in that church involved?
Yes, I suspect.
Can you tell us about some of the rituals you saw?
Yeah, I can't really answer that.
Okay.
If I did see anything as a little kid, it's blacked out. I blacked out the memory. I don't remember any of my childhood. I'll put it that way.
So how do you know the satanic ritual, that there was Satanism involved at all, if you don't remember it?
I've been because of the friend acquaintance I've been associating with lately. She has lived experience. Her name's Casey Sunshine. I've met her on X Twitter, and I've been working with her. And according to what I've told her from my lived experiences, she thinks that I'm, was raised in a satanic family, ritual abuse.
Whenever you say you experienced SA ritual, can you describe the ritual in the SA? And I don't want you to relive anything. If it's uncomfortable, then don't. But I'm just interested in like what the ritual aspect of it was.
Well, when
He's not asking specifically about the intimate acts. He's asking about the other things external from anything like that.
like the somatic flashback kind of thing of it.
Like what was going on around the thing that was like there was SA, like you're saying, but don't talk about that because that's TOS kind of.
Who was there? Were there people in robes?
Yeah.
That sort of stuff.
It was all dark, sensory deprivation. I heard men's voices, and that's all I can remember.
And did it seem like the room was dark, or that maybe you were blindfolded or something, or
both?
Okay.
All right. Jessica is saying that the intense questioning, maybe we need to lighten it up. So let me break the energy and remind you people to donate some freaking money.
Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate some freaking money.
And on that note, if Mr. is here, he hit me with the Cash App after hours last night. Thank you, Mr. from the Cash App. If he's not here, I'll probably mention that again when I see him. Go ahead, guys. Sasquatch, how do you know about Satanism?
Isn't that obvious?
Well, I mean,
all Sasquatches are Satanists.
Yeah, he didn't dibbled and dabbled, man. How dare you?
It wasn't so much that I dabbled. It was more along the lines of I really, really, really wanted magic to be a real thing that you could really demonstrate that was real.
It is.
Right. And while you can say that it's real, it's going to be real freaking difficult to convince Flow State that pulling a quarter out of his ear is magic. You know what I mean? So
you telling me that I'm not a witch?
I never said that. If you believe yourself to be a witch, Madam, as the case may be, so be it then. But in the process, trying to prove that either magic is a thing or it's not, I discovered that it's involved in belief systems and the power of belief, right? It's really hard to define because it's such a heavily spiritual concept that your belief can actually change the outcome. It's like manifestation with something of a forceful abuse characteristic to it. Like every aspect of it is painful and causes deprivation. Like she was saying, the idea is to deprive you of things and feed on the hunger, the angst, the anxiety, all of that. And once you fall into that type of a cycle, it's a lot easier to be manipulated by people you view in a position of power.
So excuse me, there's two types, right? And I hear people describe it the way that you describe it, right? Like this soft, like magic, soft, witchcraft. Like you got to believe it in order for it to be true. But then you have the people on the extreme side that say, I conjured a demon and I got it to do this, and something appeared through a wall. You know what I'm saying? They'll swear by it. You know what I'm saying? So which one do we believe? Is it Sasquatch's version, or people who can claim that can summon a demon and get it to do all these crazy things? You know what I mean? I don't know. You've heard that too. That's probably why
I've heard the stories. I have. There are people who will stand right on top of a stack of Bibles and swear many things. I don't necessarily believe them in the description they give me. I believe they believe that is what took place, but as far as the visuals and everything that go along with it, that's not as necessary for the perspective to be reached. Belief is the point. Power is the point. My Valentine is the point.
And you know what's strange? You'll have Christians that will, proclaim the same thing too. That make the same claims too. They seen demons, and you know what I mean? So,
Now, Satanists are very different from Luciferians. These are very...
Explain that.
All right, so Luciferians are anti-Christians. They are the inversion of that which they view as being a oppressive power, and so they do things in an inversion of the Catholic Church. They have dark masses. They do all kinds of weird stuff, not because they believe it does anything, but largely in mock of the Catholic Church. Satanists are a whole nother ball of worms. These are the people you find out there, and when they're identified as Satanists, it's not always actually Satanism. Sometimes it's some level of paganism that's just not understood by the mainstream media, and they just say Satanist because they're not Luciferians and they're not Christian.
What is Gen X Jeff?
Luciferian, more likely. I mean, he does all of that in mockery of a particular sect of church.
So are they just edge lords?
Luciferians largely are edgelords. They're people who are ironically critically devout in the Catholic concept of faith while mocking every aspect of it. It's a really strange juxtaposition of almost an igneous belief in the paradigm in front of us, or at least the one portrayed by the Catholic Church, versus the people who decide in full knowledge, basically to prove that it's all BS, they become Luciferians and then almost unironically begin doing exactly the same thing the Catholic Church does in an inverted sort of counter contrast sort of way.
Well, spiritually, they're the same as Satanists and Luciferians are the same, but in practice, they're different.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't find Luciferians out here chopping people up and sticking them to freaking trees and shit.
And Satanists do that to attain power. Whether it's making people,
you might find a handful of pagans and maybe a double handful of Satanists that might consider that a path to power. Yes.
What about the claim that Satanism, or I'm not sure if it's Satanism or Luciferian, whatever, that it's not actually a religion that worships Satan? It's just selfish. It's just
that's
selfish.
what I was saying. Is like a lot of people that are earmarked as Satanists are actually some level of pagan, whether they're Norse gods, Hindu, or whatever. Usually when someone's labeled a Satanist, they're generally just not Christian and doing something that whoever's identifying it doesn't understand.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
For instance, Wiccans. Wiccans largely tend to write stuff and do things through the power of written word and the power of communed belief and communed inaction, you know. And so you don't find a whole bunch of Wiccans out there cutting up a bunch of people and nailing them to trees. You know, they don't do those types of actions because that's not the type of power they're seeking. Whereas a Satanist is seeking individual aggrandizement along with a lot of them believe they are collecting the souls of that which they kill. They're taking on the power of it. And that's not an uncommon belief in lots of pagan belief structures.
Pure Satanism, you also have the fact that Christianity and Christendom, no matter what the sect is, promotes collectivism, promotes working together as a community, and says that your whole point of existing is to work with your fellow Christian and you're in your community. In Satanism, they push for that individuality as a mockery at the pursuit of the self. You're being selfish. You know.
Yeah, I think that's I think that both of them are unhealthy extremes and wrong.
Well, I mean, any religion taken to an extreme becomes an unhealthy zealotry. And I guess you could say the same thing about certain like YouTube channels and a handful of like VTubers and whatnot have fanatically devout followings, you know. And anything you take.
Are my followers fanatic enough?
For a cult or
yes.
a Satanist cult? Maybe a good solid cult. You might be able to make cult status, but a Satanist cult, there hasn't been nearly enough blood yet.
Okay.
And that's the other thing. Blood magic is real big in the whole Satanist cult thing.
I'm okay. I don't need any blood magic. I do need to make sure that we're solidly locked into cult level devotion, though. I hope you're listening in the chat.
Sasquatch, out of all the things I heard you talk about, Satanism is the most expertly thing I've heard. Out of all things, you're the satanic expert.
Um, I just assume that most people don't do as deep a dive into the concept as I have.
Into
And
anything. That's true.
I was young.
I'm poking at you, bro. I'm interested though.
I'm trying to
I can tell you this. I can tell you something that you might know. I'm going to try to say it real figuratively.
Mm-hmm.
There was a documentary put out by Canadian Broadcasting, CBC, here in Canada, where they went into some Catholic churches, I believe it was, or something like that, where they had pieces of people mounted, like really creepy, weird stuff.
I mean, John Wayne Gacy had
In
a
like
nipple.
the 50s, 60s, something like that.
But you got to understand too, predators are going to hunt where there's the most fertile ground.
Well, that's kind of what I
They're
was
going to
saying.
hide in plain sight.
I was really young when I decided to go look into this, 17, 18, 19. And it's a lot easier to be brought into these cult type environments when you appear to be a young, malleable mind. And they don't realize there's a Sasquatch in there. And so my father taught me to sit still on my hands and not say anything. And saying nothing is often the best thing that you can do, especially if you're trying to learn. Right.
Jenny, got a question here from the chat from Katie for you. Have you done any hypnosis for the memories that were lost?
No, no, I have not yet. I have not been able to afford it, but that is something I eventually want to do.
Yeah, I've mentioned before that my ex-wife got diagnosed with DID, dissociative identity disorder, and that was from a hypnosis session, and the therapist said we need to do more